agenda, we are going to discuss about why machine learning matters, why should we learn the machine learning, what is machine learning, and why all of the sudden machine learning is such a very important thing, and what is the difference between the traditional programming in machine learning process, types of the machine learning, and ML applications. If you see the present world status, I mean, the world is changing very dynamic than ever before. I mean, you must also heard that, you know, data scientist is the one of the sexiest job by the 21st century, and this is the and this kind of you know, dynamic, this kind of change is also, you know, somehow confirmed by the industry top leaders like Amazon and you know, Google. So this kind of you know, industry disruption has given two kinds of you know, directions for two kinds of news, or two kind of directions. One is the negative side of, you know, news, and another the positive side news. What is the negative side news? Is that in the negative side we are losing most of the jobs by the concept of automation or the concept of artificial intelligence, and at the same time there are a lot of jobs are getting created which can run these technologies. So what kind of jobs under threat? You know, the jobs required only in operational nature, they are also getting, you know, threatened by the concept of the automation. These are the most of the blue collar jobs. So what I mean by automation, automation is basically if something is repeated in nature, somebody will write some kind of, you know, function which will automate everything. So this kind of automation is majorly, in fact, the you know, blue colored kind of jobs. But other than that, there is one more disruption we are showing, that is the, you know, artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence is doing? It is also kind of disruption, you know, which is also automating the things, but with the concept, with a little bit of intelligence. That means, so this kind of you know, disruption is, you know, threatening some of the jobs which are very particular to white collar jobs. So either in form of automation or in form of, you know, artificial intelligence, there are some jobs which are getting lost. At the same time, there will be some jobs which are getting created because once we are able to, once there are a lot of applications which are building around artificial intelligence, there will be a lot of jobs are getting created. So in the later slides, I will show some of the key technologies which is required to handle this industry 4.0. So the positive news is, if you know, upskill yourself, and if you face your learning as per the market needs, and if you upskill yourself, it's a good news. There will be a lot of jobs is there for you. If you are not able to upskill yourself, if you are not able to, you know, learn all the new things, then it's the negative news for you. I mean, it's the negative side of you. So these are the some of the statistics is given by you know, top you know, like NASCOM and some of the standard industry people. World requires around 2.7 million data science by next 3 years. And also 5 million jobs will be threatened by the automation, and 69% of India will also be threatened by the you know, automation. This is the sum of the facts. But other than this, there is also one more strong reason. What we are seeing right now is, by end of 2020, the 85% of our customer, you know, transactions will be done by the digitalization. This is also one of the major reason for all the latest disruption what we are seeing. And other than this also, we are also seeing nowadays, we are also seeing a lot of, you know, transformation in the customer experience because of all the latest technologies. Almost in every, you know, domain, there is a huge transformation in the customer experience. That means the customers are experiencing more from their, you know, service providers, their vendors. All these basically changes, all these are basically creating a lot of opportunity for the new technologies which they need to build for the people. So this kind of, you know, disruption or change is not for any specific field. Almost all the, you know, industries, all the domains are in the part of this kind of digital storm. Digital storm. 1 minute. Hello, Emanani. Oh, screen. Oh no. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Hello, now it is. Oh, yeah. Hello, now it's okay. Now it's moving. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Please. Now the current slide is visible.
Yeah, digital storm. It's moving now, up and down.
Yes. It's moving. It's moving now. It's moving now.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So as I told you that, you know, there is a 85% of all because there is a growth in the digital transformation as well as the transformation in the customer experience is making all the industries changing their way of their
Venugaru, can you please put it into a slideshow mode?
Slideshow mode, yeah. It's moving now?
No.
Hello?
No.
Moving? What happened here?
Yeah, now it's moving it, but put
Yeah.
it into the slideshow. You press F5.
When I put it, it's moving now? Hello? It's moving?
Hello? No, some other one is presenting it.
You have to put it in the presentation slide mode, sir.
Let me stop that. Sorry.
On your
Someone is started presenting. Kushma Kumar is.
Sorry? Oh God. Presentation. I am not able to present. Stop presenting.
So someone is presenting. Kushma Kumar. Yeah, please. Venugaru, we are able to see you now. Can you please open your presentation now and.
Yeah. Now you can see this presentation?
No, sir. Stop your presentation.
1 minute. Yeah. Stop my presentation. 1 minute. Let me start. Present now. I can see entire view. Select window screen. This thing. Yellow. It's okay now?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Now it's coming?
Yeah, it's
coming. It's coming.
Yes.
It's coming.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah.
Press F5. Press F5 so that it will be in a slideshow mode.
Yeah, now it's in slideshow mode. Yeah, thank you. Now it's okay. It's moving now. Hello.
Yeah, just move
It's
a
moving?
slide so that just you move a slide.
Yeah, it's moving. I'm moving. It's going on. It's changing. Slides are changing.
No.
Okay, thank you. Close it. So now all the industries are in this kind of digital storm. So some of the industries are already there in the digital storm, and some of the industries are starting, and some of the industries are in middle. So in future, whatever domain you works for, so there is no way of getting out of working with the data. So this kind of revolution is not the first time. Already we have seen enough industry revolution. I think the world is seen so far 4 industry revolution. The first industry revolution is basically happened long time back. It's based on steam-based revolution. So when the steam-based revolution happened, there has been a lot of changes happening in the transport system. That's basically called in the first industry revolution. The second industry revolution is basically electricity-based revolution. When the electricity was invented, the people found a lot of products based on the electricity, and it basically reduced the human physical stress of the humans. That is one of the major industry revolution. The third industry revolution is basically IT revolution, IT industry revolution. The fourth industry revolution, what we are seeing, is basically called artificial intelligence industry. The fourth industry revolution, what people is called industry 4.0, which is the combination of artificial intelligence, big data, IoT, and cloud technologies. This industry revolution is basically has a lot of differences compared to earlier industry revolution. This industry revolution is majorly try to serve the customers at his personal level. So in this industry revolution, all the companies, all the service providers are interested to give the customer at his personalized service. I mean, what is I meant by personalized service? If you see the YouTube, you watch some videos. Whenever you go and watch next time, the YouTube is basically suggest the videos based on your your habits, everything. That's called personalized service. So this industry revolution is basically called C2B, customer to business. Every company wanted to give personalized customer to the personalized customers. That is the beauty of this industry revolution. And this industry revolution is basically reducing the not only physical stress of the humans, it is also reducing the mental stress of the humans also. Like there are a lot of AI augmented tools which are helping humans to take their decision on day to day life. So but what is behind all this? Behind all this is basically an artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is there from the earlier also, but it has sometimes it's like it has like 2 AI winters. That means there is not the artificial intelligence
Venu garu, it is
Sir,
not moving.
slides are
The
not
slides
changing.
were not moving.
Oh,
Yeah, now
is
it is changed.
Yeah, now it is moving.
maybe we need to see like this, and I think some problem. Sorry for that, but you can see the slide, na? I can go ahead with this. All right, okay. Now you can see the slide, na? Whenever I change the slide, I need to go back and I will put in presentation mode. Okay. You can see the slide. The reason AI.
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason is basically AI as you know, the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence basically, as I told you, creating an intelligent system which behaves like a humans. But you know, to build any AI, the AI will have the two types of, you know, two types. How to build the AI? It has basically two folds. In the first fold, we need to understand the intelligence, and then we need to apply that intelligence in the data, you know, that life. So that's why if you see any of the AI, so AI will be composed into the three circles. First AI, then the subset of the AI is the machine learning or deep learning. So the funda is like this. We will use either machine learning or deep learning algorithms to understand the intelligence. Once we understand that intelligence, we will apply that intelligence in the form of the products. This is the whole concept of the AI. So now that's why the artificial intelligence is basically, you know, the machine learning is basically subfield of artificial intelligence, and within that machine learning, there is a deep learning is also coming. The only difference between machine learning and deep learning is basically in the machine learning, the simple definition for machine learning is basically it's learning from the data without explicitly write the code. I will also put it like other way: representation, learning, and optimization. That means you fed the data into the system. To that system, it will learn, and then through the optimization, it will find the best program. That we will discuss in the later slides. And when it comes to the deep learning, what people say is because of the deep learning is basically works more with the unstructured data like images and text. So the definition for the deep learning is the decoding, learning, and optimization. What do I mean by decoding is, in the machine learning, we need to provide the input to the system, take these inputs and give the algorithm. But in the deep learning, what we are trying to do, we are trying to give the raw image. Because of the concept of, you know, multiple hierarchical layer, the first part is basically decode that raw images into the features and use that features into, you know, algorithm, then optimization. Whether you do the deep learning and machine learning, the difference is the first part. In the deep learning, basically you will extract the data from layer, layers of the network or program. But ultimately, the machine learning or deep learning is going to be the part, is going to be the major part for the AI. So that's what, you know, if you want to build the AI, first you need to understand the intelligence. As soon as you want to understand the intelligence, you need to apply the either ML or DL techniques. And if you see the demand for AI also, there is a huge demand for AI. This is basically the chart I took it from, you know, Data Robot. There is a clear need for the people who can, you know, build the products by using ML, DL, and build the products in AI. This is what I'm saying. So, but why it is now? So, you know, we are already discussing that, you know, this is there from over years onwards, like AI is over years, but why is now? See, if you see, maybe after 2007 onwards, we have seen the clear trend in the data explosion. So we are seeing the era of data explosion era, where we are seeing a lot of data, huge data, big data, text data, variety of data, and lot of information available. So all of the sudden, the industry has seen the lot of data. Hence, you know, there has been lot of lot of changes happened in this era. So that's why people will say data is oil, data is electricity. So why people will say that once data is oil, data is electricity, with the data we can make a lot of products and we can use that product for the human usage. Similarly, even though the technology, the algorithms are there in the past, but there is not enough data to support or to build the application. But whatever happened off late, because of various these things, there is a huge data availability is there, and hence people are trying to build the product to use the data. So that's why behind all of this, the data is very important. So that's the reason now AI. So now once we have the data, so now we are able to build a lot of applications which can run the based on the data. That's why people will say data is oil, data is electricity. As per some of the interesting statistics, I think this is like 2-year statistics. 90% of data is captured last 2 years. Out of 100%, 90% data is captured 2 years, but this is like a old slide. But now every, I think 14 to 16 months, the data is getting doubled. And what are the three major reasons for this is basically, one is like unstructured data, second one is the sensors, third one is that the memory devices are getting cheaper and cheaper. Because of all these three, everybody is able to capture the data. Once we have the data, I think there is always pressure to build the, there is always pressure to find utility from the data and use for the better customer services. That's why now all the companies are capturing the data. Hence, there is a huge opportunity for the people who can build these kind of applications in future. Right now, if you see any of the machine learning or artificial intelligence product, you can see top products is coming from top 5 to 6 companies. Why they are able to produce those kind of products? Because they have data. So now everybody is capturing the data. I'm sure in future everybody want to build their own products. So that's why we can see there is a clear demand for the people who can run. You can take the data and build the applications through the data. And other than that, there are also a lot of computation power increases. We are also seeing a distributed computer system like Hadoop and other technologies, and also GPUs and TPUs came into the picture, which can completely completely change the processing speed. And that's why we can see last 7 to 8 years is the big game changer in the industry. So this is what what is happening in 1 minute in internet. This is what we are able, I can share this slide. You can also see this is what is happening in 1 minute statistics in internet. This is how we are capturing the data. I think you can be able to see this slide. Yeah. And currently, I think, and other than this also, every day, I think there are 2.5 quantum bytes of data every day we are creating. Right now, we have 30 zettabytes of data. By 2025, I think we are able to get to generate 175 zettabytes of data. Here, 1 zettabyte means 1 billion terabyte. So what I'm saying here is, as we are generating data exponentially, there are the algorithms already there. Now there is a huge pressure for the people to take this data and build the application which can serve the customer better. So, and this is what I'm also talking about. With the concept of Internet of Things and sensors, the number of devices connected to the internet is also increasing day by day. And this picture itself shows how that memory devices are costs are getting cheaper and cheaper. I think if you can see this picture, this is how the memory devices are getting cheaper and cheaper day by day. And as I told you that we are also capturing a lot of sensors data, and the computers now can also understand a lot of unstructured data. By virtue of natural language processing, the computer can enable to understand the human language. By virtue of computer vision, the computers can also understand image data. By virtue of sensors, we can also do a lot of streaming data. Like all this basically give a lot of opportunity for the people who can come up and take the data and build the products. But what I'm saying is, whatever data you are working with, the text or image, once you convert the data, so obviously you need machine learning algorithm to build the product out of it. That's why machine learning is very important. So what I'm saying is, because of all the innovations, is completely changed the industry 4.0, is completely changed the companies how they are operating. Earlier, most of the companies are in the reactive, but now with all the advanced data, all the companies somehow become proactive. Now, earlier, most of the reports are static. Now, most of the reports are dynamic, on the moment, online moment, dynamic. They are all dynamic and at the moment, online. It's not about the volume. So, it's not about the volume. Now, all the people are thinking about the value. What is the value we are providing to the customer? Earlier, people built to technology for the business. Now, people are building business around the technology. What I mean is, as there are a lot of sensors are getting data, what should I do with the data? Can I build any application around it data? Can I use that application in my building? This is one of the major disruption, major change what we are seeing in the industry 4.0. People are building business around the technology. Earlier it's like once you have the technology, from the technology they used to build the business. Now it's the other way around. Now, as I told that most of the customers are trying to give the services at customer at its personal level. So these are all the industry 4.0 solution. All this happened because of the data and innovation, data and technology changes, data. So before getting into the machine learning, now when you will getting into the machine learning, I wanted to give one thought to all the students. machine learning is not a code, it's a thought. So please keep in the mind, this is the, I think this is the complete image of the machine learning based on their importance. So if you see, the code is very small part, but most of the people are under misconception that code is going to the everything, and they're putting a lot of time on this. But I wanted to tell that machine learning is not a code; it's basically a thought. Okay. So with that, let's start. What is machine learning? So what is machine learning? As I told you, that machine learning is basically ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So now we have seen the enough. We already seen we are getting a lot of data. So we have a lot of data. So once we have the data, what people are doing is they are using data to build the algorithms. So what will happen once we have the lot of data? So people are using the data itself to build the applications. That's why the machine learning is different from the traditional programming language. If you see the traditional programming language, so what we can do, we have the input data in hand, we will write the program, and then we'll run that program and we will get the output. This is what the traditional programming. But once we have so much data, what now people are doing is, in the machine learning era, we are feeding the lot of input and output data to the computer, and contrary, computer is giving the programming. That's the difference. Why it is possible? Because now we have so much data where we can feed the lot of data to the computer. Once the computer sees the enough example, it will come up with the algorithm that can be useful for the future. For example, I will explain how these two works with a small example. Let's say if you want to find out whether given number is a even number or odd number by using the traditional programming, what do? You first take the number, you will write the code. If x mod 2 equal to 0, then that is even. X mod 2 is not equal to 0, that is the odd. Then whenever the new data comes, you run the program, you will get the output. That is the traditional way of doing it. And the machine learning, what we do, we have so many numbers which are even, so many numbers which are odd numbers. Like, so what we do, we try to fit lot of numbers along with the number, and whether they are either they are like even number or odd number. So then what we try to do is basically it will basically learn from the instances, and then it will learn that instances, and we will use that to predict the future. That's the difference between traditional programming and machine learning. So any machine learning program, if you take any problem you take, it will follow it will go into this kind of analytical continuum. That is any problem you solve, any problem will go this kind of ladder. First we need to understand what first we need to understand what was happened with the data, that we call the descriptive analysis. Then second, to solve any problem, we need to understand why it is happened, that's we call diagnostic analytics. Third one, we call it the predictive analytics, what is going to happen. Then fourth one, what best can happen. This is we call as prescriptive analysis. Now we are also getting into one more analysis called cognitive analysis, what right can happen. So any machine learning problem you take, all the problem will go to into this path. First, if somebody has given some problem, first you need to understand what was happened with the data, that we call as the descriptive analysis. And second, we need to understand why it is happened, that we can call it diagnostic analysis, that we can call it the root cause analysis. Then we need to understand what is going to happen, that we call as the predictive analysis. Then what will happen is the predictive analysis. Out of what will happen, and the fourth one is called prescriptive analysis, out of which we need to tell what best can happen also. That's called prescriptive analysis. And the last one is basically, one more thing is cognitive analysis. What best is not important, what right can happen is also important. What right can happen, like if you are working with healthcare or finance, it's not best, it's the right is what important. So, and whenever you are working with any machine learning, I think the machine learning is follow this workflow called CRISP-DM. Actually, this CRISP-DM is designed for the data mining, but it's flexible enough to use for the machine learning also. So it has like six steps. The first step is basically called business understanding, then data understanding. The third one is called data preparation. Fifth one is the model evaluation and deployment. So what we need to do is basically whenever you are solving the problem, the first we need to understand what is the problem we are solving. What is the problem we are solving? Why we need to solve the problem? What is the important point? What is the client is trying to solve? So we need to understand the business. Then the second step is basically data understanding. That means converting the business problem into the data understanding. That means in order to solve this business problem, what is the data available? Do I need to collect any data, or what kind of data is there? That is called data understanding. The third step is basically called the data preparation. Once you have the data, today problem is big data. I think big data is not important. The relevance of the data is very important. That's why we need to have a lot of lot of data. I mean, garbage in, garbage out. So we need to clear the data. So we need to prepare the data for the modeling. So then the fourth step is the modeling. Based on the problems, we have different ML algorithms. We need to find out the what model we need to apply. Then fifth one, once you have built the model, we need to evaluate the model also in both modeling perspective as well as the business perspective. Modeling perspective is basically whether the model is able to give the good accuracy, and the same time whether the whatever the model is derived is really solving the business problem or not. If it is not solving, we need to go back and change the data. And even if you are not getting the good accuracy, we will see how to improve the accuracy in the later. So this is an iterative process. So once you are happy with your model is evaluated on the both business front as well as data front, then you need to put that data in the deployment. So this process is called CRISP-DM. This is called cross-industry protocol data mining, and it can be flexible enough to use for both data science as well as machine learning also. And these are the various steps what I discussed now: understanding the business problem. What is the business problem we are trying to do, data understanding, what kind of data is there, and data preparation, to find what is the, how to find the relevance of the data from the big data. I mean, whatever the data, creating the new features, doing data cleaning, removing outliers, all those comes under the data preparation. Then we will go into the data modeling. Once we fit the model, then the next step is the data evaluation. In the data evaluation, we basically see whether the model is validated in the both business as well as algorithm perspective, then deploy the model. And this is what most of the people will feel that in the ML the modeling part will take the most of the time, but it is not right. The most of the time will be taken by the data preparation. That's why I think in future the data literacy is going to be very useful. I think that is the core skill where most of the companies are looking for. Today we have so much of data, so to create valid data.